Despite the camouflage, we know what the new Ford Everest looks like. However, the big news is under the bonnet with the V6 in the flagship Platinum model. Today, we're going to have a brief sample of that vehicle around Ford's test track at You Yangs in Victoria. So we're at the wheel of a engineering development Ford Everest, 2022 Ford Everest. And instantly, even at slow speed, and we're in 4 low here with the 4-wheel drive system, immediately the torque and power of this new V6 is immediately apparent. The steering is really light, and although this is not obviously a real world sample, we're on Ford's proving ground test track. In theory, the car should excel here simply because, well, it was designed for these roads. I mean, is it cheating? I don't think so, but the new 4-wheel drive system actually has 6 different modes, selectable via the TMI control like the previous one. And bear with us as we go over these bumps and lumps. The most immediately apparent thing driving these vehicles back to back, the new Everest with the old, is that the new vehicle's longer wheelbase and wider track actually makes it a lot more sure-footed. Now by that, as I go along some ruts here, the main difference is we're not jiggling about as much, and there's a confidence to this vehicle that the previous model just didn't have, despite the fact that both of them have a great off-road capability. Now the Everest also has more articulation in its suspension, so theoretically greater off-road capability. Now we're going to go up a smaller hill but a steep incline using the hill descent control. As we attempt this large crest, we can look over the crest using the camera, and we're not quite there, and we need a bit more run up. What we can do though is engage reverse using the new E-shifter, which has a good chunkiness to it. It's not an E-shifter like in other Fords, and use the downhill descent control as well as a 360 camera with the above view, so we have a clear understanding of what's going on outside. Okay, so let's try this again. And we're over, and we can see just over the crest using the camera on the center screen. It's a fantastic set of digital technology, old school off-roading matched with new digital technology. Ford have really nailed it in terms of information and having a clear understanding of what the vehicle's doing in unfamiliar surroundings. Another solid feature of the new screen, the new digital display in the center of the Everest, is that it has guidelines to guide you where the steering is facing. Now that might sound a bit strange, but when you're off-road and you're at strange angles like we just were, knowing where dead ahead is really important, and it's another really cool thing from that center display. Over these bumps, it's a good time to mention that the 4-wheel drive system now has more clutch packs than previously. Oh, it's probably a bit too bumpy to talk, isn't it? That's the underbody protection that we're using to make sure that the underbody of the Everest remains intact. So while this isn't exactly a comprehensive drive, the first impressions and first signals of the Everest are really good. We don't know much about the V6 in terms of the final specification for Australia. In fact, it's still being homologated as we're driving it through this rutted course. But we know it's a very strong engine. It has a nice note. It's not particularly diesely in its nature. It sounds quite strong and smooth. NVH will be good on the freeway, it seems. But we do know that the Everest has a stronger and more planted off-road capability. So it was hardly a comprehensive drive, but our first taste of the 2022 Ford Everest is positive. It feels more planted and sure-footed on this short off-road course than the previous model, which has only made us more excited for driving it later in 2022. And for me, that dreaded door chime, it's still here. I thought it was gone. I love it.